So I must confess, on this whole EA BS stuff that they got involved with as far as SimCity is involved, as well as another topic that I'll get to in another video here, I have to confess I didn't do this topic enough due diligence. This situation is worse than I thought it was going to be, and will be worse even still in the future. So what the heck am I blathering on about? Well, for one thing, most people, or at least a large portion of people, still can't get on and play SimCity. And you know what's going on right now? Well, part of it is server maintenance and hooking up stuff within the server just now. But here's the stuff that I didn't know that makes it even less worth wanting to try to track down a copy myself, at least at this point in time. The problem mainly being that, well, several-fold actually. For one, you do not own your save files. You have no physical save files. Your save file is on the server, as is your city. If you migrate to another server, you have to completely reconstruct your city. That's absolute bullcrap. Point of contention number 2. EA has been shutting down servers for games as early as 2011. And when they're doing that, guess what happens to that game that cannot be played offline, even single player? Suddenly now that $60 game that you just bought that's practically brand new in the packaging becomes a $60 paperweight. Or coaster, beer coaster maybe, if you're inclined. And that's the same thing that's going to be happening here. That is the exact same thing that is going to be happening here. Once those servers for SimCity are shut down, then guess what happens to that game? It goes away. It is not able to be played. It's done. It's gone. You have nothing to play with. Even if you are very, very, very much into your game, well, too bad. Because basically, this is exactly the thing I told you about. Did I not freaking tell you? You aren't buying games anymore. You are renting them from the publishers, and they can give and revoke your entertainment at a moment's notice. Now, granted, Steam's a little better about this. An astute user had pointed that out to me on a video I had commented on, because I see this as being the evolving gaming model for the next gen. And I'm very, very much inclined to believe that this is starting to infect the PC sector. Because you notice that Gabe Newell, of all people, as much as I hate developers who are a whiny lot, who are never happy with what they have, and even though they pull phenomenal games out of their behinds when they actually try to push the limits of, say, things like consoles and PCs, they don't. And then they complain about it, and I, as an artist, am supposed to sympathize with that. Well, I'm sorry, but no, I don't have to sympathize with that, and I don't. Developers don't give a crap about me, and I don't give a crap about them. But I digress. Excuse me. Because, see, I don't 100% agree with Nerd Cubed, whose video will be down in the underbar, as is Total Biscuit's video, as is Boogie's newest video on the whole subject as well, because he brings up an even bigger point that only reinforces, oddly enough, the Aliens Colonial Marines. I don't know why I want to keep saying Aliens vs. Predator. The Aliens Colonial Marines debacle. But I'll get to that in a second here. He says Nerd is basically begging people, just don't buy the game. If you have no plans to buy the game, don't pirate it. Because he thinks that this is only going to make this worse. It's hard to disagree with him on some levels, because there is some precedent to it on some level, but let's be completely honest here. As Boogie says, as I've constantly said, they punish you if you pirate. They punish you if you don't pirate. Either way, you're getting punished. You're either getting punished for what the minority is doing while the gaming industry is claiming that piracy is damning them to poverty, which it's not, by the way. Because if you look at the earnings of the gaming and the movie industry, they almost eclipse every other industry in this economy. And they're claiming that piracy is making them poor. Both these industries can just kindly eat me. But okay, so one of the things Boogie said, and I'm seeing a lot of support for this, is this is becoming the final nail in the coffin on some levels for the pre-order. And I say good riddance. I used to love pre-ordering. I really loved pre-order bonuses. But as I've started to see region-specific pre-order bonuses that we don't get unless we pre-order an untested, unproven product, unless we put our faith in the industry enough, faith that has been shattered now, not just on the console market with Aliens Colonial Marines, but now with games like Diablo 3 and SimCity. And you know who's to blame for that? It's not the pirates. It's these bloody people who just have the most scatterbrained business practices I have ever seen. Or, well, I should say scatterbrained in terms of the basic business model, but focused like a laser on the piracy problem, the piracy dilemma. Look, I'm not going to stand up here and say, oh, piracy is the most wonderful thing in the world, but, you know, I'm not even going to get into that section of things because I've already talked about, thanks to intellectual property rights holders, oftentimes the IPs themselves are already stolen properties from the creators, okay? So we're not doing any favors by paying the IP holders and the developers money that the creators don't generally get. And when they do get it, you know, if they want to make a sequel to something they thought up, they created, oftentimes if the IP holders say no, they can't do jack with their own creation. Now that is one part of art in gaming I can get very angry about and be in solidarity with creators about. There is nothing that is right about that. But basically it amounts to you can't technically steal a product that has already been stolen. But again, I don't want to get into that. But I'm at my wit's end. I've been at my wit's end for months now. And it's been the gaming industry that's been fueling this. It's been breaking my balls. And I imagine breaking a lot of your balls out there as well. I keep saying, people, don't fear a game industry crash. It's going to cost people jobs. Yes, but how is it not doing that now? Look at the fallout of Aliens vs. Predator. Did any execs who lied to our faces and presented a demo gameplay that was nothing more than a rehearsed video, did they have any reprimandation? No. The people at the bottom, the very people that were afraid of them losing their jobs because of a video game crashing, so we should keep the industry afloat kind of thing, are the exact people whose heads are rolling in these debacles. I will love to see who gets hurt at the end of the day when the dust clears from this SimCity debacle. But this is bull crap. This is quite literally, you are just borrowing content as far as this game is concerned. No servers, no game. And you've paid for this. You've paid for the privilege of technically renting content from the developers. Is this what you want in your next gen? Is this what you want in PC gaming? I know this is a bit more of a minority in PC gaming, but we give them this idea. We're giving them a free pass while they're demanding an online pass from us. I'm sorry, I didn't sign up for that, and I'm pretty sure most of you didn't sign up for that either. They've gone too far. How much more do they need to do to you, the general public, before you start to say enough is enough? When you've got EA, as I'll talk about in the next video, backtracking about how we loved all these microtransaction things and trying to clarify without actually admitting that they're now backpedaling on something that they swear we misread or we misheard or misinterpreted. And I really want to like EA on some levels because they're very proactive in terms of gaming and LBGT representation and rights. But good God, when you do stuff like this, I don't even own the game and I'm mad about it. That's how mad EA makes me. But again, ask yourself, is this what you want in gaming? If it's not, then it's time to take an actual stand, not a, oh, we must boycott. No! That we need to start sending messages that these developers work for us, not for themselves and their own self-interests. Until that day happens, we're going to continue to see all of the horrendous missteps that we are seeing in the industry this year and partly in last.